Good afternoon. Hi, Gracie. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I just started recording. Welcome to class.
Thanks. I'm on my tablet again. My computer is updating for the millionth time.
Well, I can see you walking around in circles, so.
Oh, hey.
I never use the camera. I'm sorry. I'm one of those that hates it.
I thought I keep changing the default thing on there to turn it off, and it never does.
I know. Zoom is weird, but you know who owns Zoom, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, so everybody knows. And this way you also know during peak times of the year, Zoom may be having problems and it may not be you. Zoom is owned by Amazon. It's on the same servers. So during peak holiday seasons or Black Friday or Black Monday for the internet or whatever they're calling it now, because I can't remember if they renamed Black Monday because that's the internet's Black Friday.
I know they have Amazon. Was it Amazon Day?
Yeah. So anytime Amazon's doing something where there's lots and lots of people on it, Zoom may have issues, just so you guys know that it's not you most likely. And it really becomes a pain when we're trying to teach.
Yeah. Now that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome to the last class of the mod. You guys have made it. And like I said, you guys are doing great. I'm really impressed. This class has been a fun one to teach. Considering it's my first programming class since the 80s to teach.
Well, the lawn care site counts.
Kinda.
I mean, in a way.
It does in a way, but it's not like getting in there more with the mega tags and the meta tags and stuff like that. I actually leave that portion to somebody who's actually got a degree in SEO, but it's good to know. It always is. The more you know, the better.
You have no idea. I had somebody call me yesterday. I gave SEO business advice 2 years ago, and he grew into a big agency. He's like, I need to hire you to do schema for me.
Nice.
And I'm like, dude, what advice did I give you?
Oh. See, it's those fun things. And that's what makes designing and programming so much fun when somebody comes back a couple years later. You may not remember them, but they'll remember you.
Oh, yeah, I remember them. I just didn't know I was his mentor.
Well, you know, it surprises us sometimes. So that's really good to hear. Okay, so just make sure to get everything in by this Saturday. Finalization of week 4 is what we're covering today. Do you have any specific questions before we start?
No.
Okay. All right, so what I did is I went back and put in the main files again. Okay. Now, you'll notice I'm missing, well, actually, no, I've got the meta tags and everything in there, so no worries. Now, let's go to the CSS and see what I've done. At this point so far, really, let's go to just code just to make that easier. Right now, as you can see with the CSS, we don't have the other, come on.
The other view, where is you?
Actually, we do.
Oh, yeah, they're there.
So the one I grabbed didn't have that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about them and how we can make some changes just to update it like we did yesterday. We discussed some of those things. One of them, definitely center that because now it matches everything, okay? You remember what we did to get the photo to work?
That was a margin. I know we just the width, the height, margin.
Okay. Let's go over here to the minimum. And that was the right article. We made the right article 100% of where it's at. And then we took the image we had to do and made it its own class of 100% and 100%. Now, remember, the 100% at height does not always work with an image.
Nope.
Because it'll try to take it and make it 100% of the block that it's in. And you guys already had that set up so that the side, the article, right article that it was in, was set to a certain height and width. So that helps a lot. And as we go down, you can see everything else is centered. Now, I will also personally say, to me, this, I hate seeing this on a website. You know what I'm talking about?
The color and the spacing?
The color's okay. It's the spacing because it's justified.
Yeah.
And I hate justification. If you notice, justification is kind of a dying art. Yeah. Look at a magazine. They've gone away from it. Why?
Except the white space. Small town newspapers. Oh my God, that gets on my nerves.
Yeah, and it's harder to read because one, especially as a designer, you start learning about white space. The white space between the words drives me nuts.
Well, yeah, not only that, for SEO reasons, I mean, you gotta make that paragraph stand out with, you know, the more characters but less wording possible.
Okay. So what we could do to make that even look a little better, let's see, we look at the columns. We're going to go to the text areas.
Somebody's going to glance at it. They're not going to really read it. You know, it's got to grab attention.
Exactly. All right. Now that one, we set that one up as H3. So that's a different section. That's your gift to be matched. Notice I did center that intentionally. All right. So where do you think that the text would be lined up on this?
The under paragraph.
Okay.
Minimum.
Now, if we look, is that done on the larger side?
Paragraph.
Notice it's not done there. So you say the column paragraph. So that one. It's not set up there.
Not set up there. Columns.
So let's go down.
Thumbnail align. Maybe it was thumbnail. I know it was a weird one.
Thumbnail align. That's the pictures. Okay. So that's fine for those because those are the thumbnail.
Would be the next class.
Which one?
Thumbnail.
Okay. The thumbnail is the actual picture though.
Left article, right article. Row. Is it set up under row?
Where's row?
I don't think row's in there.
Nope. Now let's take a look though at the multi-source. Nope, not there. Row block display and start moving your way down. And this is why, oh, look right there. But notice it didn't change a thing. Why not? Because that, all that did is that's the left article. And at this point, we don't really have a left article. So we'll keep going down the columns, columns. And look.
There you go.
Now, doesn't that look a lot cleaner?
Yeah.
Now we'll go up a size and look at the difference. That didn't really make much difference up there because, well, it was far enough out that all the paragraphs worked out. So that was actually by fluke that those worked out. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So now we come down, and so now we have that one looking better. What are some of the other things you could do to make this look better? And this is all going to SEO, like you were mentioning. Those spaces, SEO does not like a lot of white space between text, because what happens, do you know why?
Well, it's the way it reads it. It's a database. The server is downloading everything, and it just
Okay.
it grabs it.
You're on the right path. That's part of it. The other part is people used to sit there and take, for example, we're going to go right here. Donate base cats.
And then make that white.
And they'd make that the same color as the background. And the reason was because they threw more keywords into there. Now, they may not have made it that big. They may have just made one word there, one word up here. But either way, it would catch the search with a search engine. You try that today, huh?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, people used to do it. No, people still do it, and guess what? Their pages aren't rated as high because now Google says, not going to play that game. We're not going to let you cheat to get there. If you're going to do this, do it right and work it our way, right?
Right.
Now, you do realize Google has also set a lot of the precedences for other search engines now.
Oh, yes.
So,
even Facebook.
Well, Facebook has their own little entities also, but for the most part, you're correct.
Yeah.
Huh?
They're going with the new patent that Google has on the entities.
They do, because they got in trouble for some of the things they were doing.
Right.
And they had to pay lots of fines.
Yeah.
Gutenberg learned his lesson that he can't just control everything.
Right. And notice unbalanced pages are not that easy to go in there and put your SEO in.
Exactly. And that makes it even harder. So now we've made this look a lot cleaner. And this would have been, well, not everything is, because now there's still some. So we'll have to go back up. Columns 2. Let's look at columns 2. Okay. And we'll just have to keep going down.
I hate how they have this site set up.
Huh?
I hate how they have this site set up.
Yeah.
I almost redid the entire thing.
You know, I wouldn't have complained, because, you know what? The way I look at it in my classes, if you see that this isn't going to work reality-wise.
Yeah.
Okay, there's that. So we make sure that we get everything.
See, I haven't posted in the analytics discussion yet, but I posted the link in the Facebook group and had everybody go to it.
Nice. Okay, so now we have this. All right, so that looks a lot cleaner, right?
Uh-huh.
And reality-wise, that would probably be hit higher than the way it was.
Except for the footer, yeah.
Now, okay, what's wrong with the footer?
Well, the footer, there's a scroll for one on the social icons.
Mm-hmm.
Those, what did I do to those? Did
Okay,
I resize the footer or the container?
Okay, why would the scroll be wrong?
It's not really responsive. It's not mobile. You're having to scroll to see the YouTube on smaller devices.
Right. Now, if you look at that, you're scrolling left to right and top to bottom there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be lazy and do that, okay. But I'm sorry, if you're setting this up, and actually that takes a lot more work to set up.
I know.
And that's the funny part about that. But what I would do is I would actually take these and create their own section down into here. In the footer, the
Mm-hmm.
div class,
Mm-hmm.
I would put another div class inside of that.
Well, why didn't they? I mean, usually when I've done it, I've done an image class instead
Oh,
of the A class,
that would work too.
and then link the image instead of the A.
That's a good way to do it as well. Now, here's the way that I'm used to doing it. I like your idea because you know what? It would actually get some more notices.
And you narrow down the amount of code and the alt tag, you're putting in there. You're not having to put an alt tag in twice.
Right. And that's the one thing that well, the way that I'm going to do it, you only put it in once too. Okay. I'd put in a div class, call it social. All right, there we go. And now within that social, I would take all that, enter, go up. Okay, and now I would put in the images. Now, I don't particularly care for these images, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, do you know what part of the issue is that I have with them?
The color.
That too. But
I don't even know if they're an update.
yeah. Facebook logo use. Facebook has what's called a brand guideline. Okay? So we come down and it talks about what acceptable and what's not.
Yeah, I don't think the rounding is acceptable because
Not anymore. It used to be. But mostly now, here's the standards, talks about them.
And I mean, that could change because I know they're updating their app. They're developers.
They are. And I'm not a Facebook developer.
I didn't know I was until the other day.
But. Nice. Okay. Using the F logo, it talks about it. And if you go down, don't. You can't make your own version of it. Oh, look at that one. It is the black one's acceptable, but not the round one.
Right.
See? So that one's a little outdated.
Isn't that why they usually give you the SDK?
Yeah. Now see, there's the Find Us on Facebook. That one's also black. It all depends on the colors you're using. The reactions. And this is something when you're building a website, you should probably do. Check each version of the acceptable logos.
Yeah, because I know Google, Twitter, they all have a brand PDF file.
Yep. Now, all right, so we say this. Now, where do I get the actual, how would I get the actual logo to use now? The one I want.
The one I bought a bunch of them, so I have no idea.
You bought them?
Yeah.
Look at this.
A long time ago.
Ah, okay.
Googles I downloaded from the Google Developers Resources. Twitter was from the Twitter Developer Resources. And Pinterest gave me a plugin. Assets.
That's the resources, templates, internet.org. Okay, that's not going to be it. Wow, they're actually giving
Logo
away
and-
some other
yeah.
stuff now.
Logo and badges, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, and look right here, as we go down, again, it gives us those limited ones, so we're going to take this one. All right. So how do you get this?
Should be right click, save image as.
Or copy. And now, you notice you can't paste it, right?
Right. Unless you go and make it in the CSS as the background.
Or you cheat. Oh, it's not letting me anymore. It used to. I could sit there and do it right there. There we go. Yeah, it's not doing it now.
I think you have to save it first.
Yeah, they took that version out where I could take the picture and actually put it in up here. And I might have to be out of the live view for it. But you're starting to see where we need to do stuff. All right. So anyway, that's the discussion on those. I wanted to go over that because of that. But yeah, you're right. And like I said, I would take those and I would make them separate so that they're not up there and they wouldn't even be their own. You could do it without making them a class even now. You know?
Yeah.
But we're going to go ahead and go with that for now. All right, now let's go out here wider and take a look at what we have. Well, first, down here and get rid of that div that I added in there. Because that's the way I would do it. I would add another div and put it in there so that it was a separate section, but still inside of the footer.
Right.
All right, and that way you can control where you put it. All right, let's take a look at the larger version. Okay, and see, this is the other issue. See how far apart those are? They're getting further apart. So this section, okay, let's take a look at the div class social. See what we find with it. Okay, social, the background color. See, they've made it that, so we're going to delete that color. Doesn't that look a lot cleaner?
Yeah.
Even there, even though they're not the proper ones. And you know, they check who's linking to them. And if you have a link that's broken, they will break it if you have the improper Facebook image there. The icon, and you're not using the ones they say are acceptable, Facebook will break it. Huh?
Knowledge graph.
I'm sorry, what?
It'll keep you from showing up in the knowledge graph.
Yep. So once they delete that link, the SEO just had an issue added to it that because it's not acceptable. Broken links will kill an SEO.
And when the logo's not named properly in your schema too.
Yep. Okay, so why did that change? It should have changed it on all of them. Oh, there we go. No. Background color. Go, go. There we go. All right. And let's go larger. Okay. Now, as you can see, we now have this all working the way we want it. Now, with a desktop, this is going to be crazy. With the desktop, I would break these into columns, because this is just way too much to go down, and this is too spread out down here. All these things are things that are going to hit your SEO. All right, now let's go ahead, and now we're going to save everything where it's at. File, save all related files. All right, now let's add the 1200. All right, so for 768, we're going to go ahead and see if I can get this to work today. So we click the max width, 778 by following the patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that just added that, but look, it just made it so short. And this one's max is 321 to 341 about, right? Now look at that. That whole area is gone. Where normally, if you take that out, this will go to there, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to do that again. We're going to go back and take that out. Whoops, let's go here. I'll start with this one. And the reason, because now, notice that issue. Why didn't that pop down? Okay, so now we're going to take out that max. And now it did. Now we're going to add another section 1200. Okay? But to do this, we're going to make this easier. We're going to go to code. Go down. All right, here's a smartphone size. Go down. Tablet size. So we're going to start copying there down. We go up do we go up one or not?
Let's see.
Easiest way to tell is you click on that and go back up and see where the open highlight is.
I think the open highlights all the way at the top, isn't it? No.
Mm-mm.
It is
Okay. So we're going to take it just in case. Now watch this. All right. Now, we just posted that there. We're going to come up here. And this is going to be desktop. All right, so now we have our desktops. We're going to file, save all related, save all, split again. Notice, well, that's because we have two 768s. We're going to change that one to the minimum width, 1200. Now look, we just added it there. So we go out to here. Now we click on the 1200 and we have to make all these adjustments, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we start with this one. Let's go ahead and go back to our code, source code, because it's a lot easier to switch around in the source code, right? For this side, for doing it this route. If I was just coding, it'd be easier just to go straight to code and CSS, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But then I can't see what I'm doing. So that's personal preference. All right, now let's go ahead and go back to source code. All right, let's start at the very top. Okay, so come on. Pals for Life. The title, the primary header are set up because they went out to the 100%, right? They didn't really go 100%. Because if we go 100%, this will be longer. This is going to leave white space on the sides of a desktop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I made mine all the way.
Yep, so what we'll do is we're going to take, now I click on the header. Well, let's go back to the header here. Notice the header's not here. So we'll go down one class to the primary header. Primary header's not here either. See, so this was written so that there was not really much expendability here. Because look, the primary header here is at 100%. If we go to the header, look, they don't even have.
See, I like using the current word at the top.
The what?
Under CSS Designer.
Yeah.
Where it says all and current.
Yeah.
I like using current because it'll show me exactly what I'm on.
That works. It's a good one. The only reason I did the other is because I was looking for a specific one, and this is where coming in to not having, you're not actually
Yeah, because there was a lot of tags missing.
yes, there we go for that. See, the primary header is at 100%.
But I think it's that container.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that one was.
So that container would be what?
I think that container had padding or margin on it.
Okay, so let's take a look.
Yeah, it would override.
Mm-hmm. Hey, and if you look here, that was overridden too.
Because whatever you put second, the first overrides whatever you put secondary.
Right. And that's the way this was written. So you're starting to see where I would write it differently, but does that mean I have to change? No, I'd work with this. Okay, so this is the way they want it. That's the way we'll do it. Now, we're at the desktop point. So the secondary header, let's go to 1200. Go to all, 1200, secondary header. All right, let's scroll down. We're going to make those float left. Now, normally that would take the secondary header. Okay, so that puts it up there. Now we need to get these up there, right? So we click on that. That's the nav class. We come down, which isn't here at all. So let's go back one more, or down one more, to the menu secondary header. And see, that's not even there. So let's create one. All right, so we're going to create one. Oh, it's right there. Well, no. Yeah, that's it right there. 100%. It floats left already. So, okay. So we're going to take this off. There we go. And that didn't even do anything. Oh, yeah, this is where we had a problem with this yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See, because of all this stuff, let's try the container. Oh, it's
There's
not.
a lot of extra classes.
Yep. And what's that called?
Overcoding?
Because, yeah, and it's code that's not needed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it's starting to mix things up here, right?
Yep. It's better to minimize.
So what would that be? That's basically dirty code, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to leave this since we can't adapt it. And that's the problem since they wanted us to adapt this.
I made my images shaky.
Huh?
I made my images shake when you touched them. I thought it was funny. I was looking forward to seeing that.
That is cute. Now, by adding something like that, what's it do to the SEO?
By doing the shake?
Uh-huh.
Well, since I just got the Google News, the interaction, it's fun to sit there and press it, so the interactive. But Google may not look at that.
They don't. That's something they don't look at. They will look that if there's interactions in it, but they won't rank with those. And what they're looking for the interactions is too many interactions. But here, let's go to a website that has tons of interactions. Normally, we say too many interactions is not good, right? I'm going to show you a site where... Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Okay, we're still recording because you were in here. That's a good thing. See what I mean about this?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and share the screen again. What was I in the middle of doing? Where did I leave?
We were talking about interaction, images shaking.
Oh, yes. Okay, now, normally we tell people with a website, too many interactions is bad, right?
Right.
Let me show you one. Huh?
This one didn't have enough.
Well, let me show you one that is filled with interactions, but it actually helps the website. Oh, come on.
Yeah, Sprint did something a long time ago.
Who did?
I think it was Sprint that was filled with interactions, and it ranked their site so quick.
Wow, actually, they've taken a lot of the interactions off. There's some, as you see when I go over, it changes the color, but that's about it now. So they've gotten away from that. Okay. They did too. What's going on here? Oh, this is Kids Care. That's not Nick Jr.
I was like, I know Nick Jr. didn't.
There we go. Now watch as we go over it, it shakes a little. See it?
Mm-hmm. And they zoom in, zoom out.
Well, watch this one. Listen closely. Let's see if I can turn the volume up.
Oh, yeah. Music.
So the more here. Now, why does that work?
Because the kids love it.
Yes. Okay.
They put the little headphones on and sit in a corner, and that's it.
Everything we learn about website development, if you're going to design a kid's site, you throw out the window. Every bit of it. What's the maximum number of colors we should use?
Oh, shoot, that I don't know.
3 to 4, sometimes 5, tops. But with a kid's website, The more the better. Now, they don't get kicked out of the search engines because the search engines are written, oh, this is a kid's site. Okay, it's got this, so it's going higher. Oh, it doesn't quite have the sound, so we're not going to put it as high. See how that's working there?
And they've also got their terms and conditions and all that saying that they're not soliciting anything it's not appropriate for 13 and younger.
Yes. You know why they did that? Huh?
It's legally mandatory.
It's now legally mandatory for kids' sites. Congress did some weird stuff not too long ago to the web. All right, so now let's go up here really quick and view the source.
That's going to take a while to load.
It is.
That's like trying to load an Amazon site. Haven't done it. I've never done that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Normally, these don't take as long. But yeah, NASA, they've changed their kids club. It used to be just like this. Yeah, this is going to take way too long. Okay. But if you get a chance, go take a look at that. There's one. And
YouTube Kids is another one.
YouTube Kids. Oh, yes. I've never been to the actual site. We have the apps. Yeah, see, they don't do a lot of that.
Yeah,
but
the parent.
Yep.
Portal.
This is the parents. Now we get control.
We don't get all that fun interaction. But the YouTube Kids is way different than the YouTube for adults because, I mean, it just automatically goes with the little icons.
Yep.
They don't have to read.
Oh, that one's not even that.
I've seen some preschool, preschool put like interactive games and stuff on theirs.
Yeah, they're starting to go to this for the older kids that can read now because they're starting to realize younger and younger kids are now learning the web. They don't need as much color.
Right.
At one time,
kids Google and try to look up and.
Oh no, I wouldn't. I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, and a 21-year-old and a 24-year-old. I'm not surprised.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm trying to think of another one. All right. Well, this one's not that bad.
The younger four, what surprised me, my 14 and 15, my 9 and 12.
Oh, yeah, they do. Now, we take a look here. Look at our meta.
Sure.
Look at all that metadata. The site name, the type.
Your Facebook OG, your Twitter card, your schema markup, your icon.
Now, why would you go so far to this?
To the Twitter card and all that? Because when you share it on that social media, and it tags it.
It does. Now, if I don't put it up here, it's not tagged in the search, is it?
No.
Now, on the Twitter, it will automatically show up because you basically, and this is not, because it's part of the website, they use Twitter to engage. So it's not stuffing, what they called stuffing the links, stuffing the tags. Because you're actually using it. Now, if they found out you weren't using this, they would kick your site out.
Uh-huh.
That's something to remember. No, just add it to add it. If you put it in there, it has to be getting used because
And the JSON script goes the same way. When you write your JSON schema, it's a script. It's gotta have something to call on.
Okay, now these up here, these are notes, right?
Uh-huh. For the browsers.
They're notes. Yes. Now we come down here and look, and it actually gives us extra script. Now, does that help?
That weighs it down.
It weighs it down, but it also helps because you're telling those web browsers, hey, to make it work on your site, read this code first.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And look right here.
Google Analytics.
Google Analytics put that there. It's part of Google Analytics. As remember when we were discussing it, all the things it can do, it can give you some scripting suggestions. And that's what this is. This way, your site will work as needed. Because if it doesn't work as needed on the web browser, you've just lost one view. And it comes back as a bad view to Google Analytics. The way that it's written, if it doesn't, So by putting this script in there, Google Analytics says, oh, okay, they're now allowing for everybody. Google Analytics, what started Google Analytics, one of the biggest things that they started their stuff on is what's called W3C. No, not W3C. What was it? The other one. C5? No. Mind dump.
Their site looks outdated still. It's blue and white.
I know. Okay, here's the WC3. Maybe. There we go. W3C. Okay, here's theirs. Yes, it does look outdated, believe it or not. But now there's one other area that works with this. So W3C does the tests. What do they test?
The W3C test if it's valid code and if the objects are named correctly.
Okay. Now, there's let's see, ADA compliant. There was one other group, but I think actually, no, they combined with W3C.
Yeah, it was the DMCA.
Yeah, and they're now part of W3C.
Yeah, I took that class a long time ago.
Had a mind dump there, but yes. Okay, and so you start looking at this. If you're following the compliancy of W3C, which is the World Consortium. So in other words, everybody needs to do this across the world. It's globally accepted. As we know, all web designing and the programming is in English. Everything. When you program in English, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even in other countries. Why is it that they chose English?
I can't tell you why they chose English. Because I speak English.
Where did programming start?
In the English language.
In the U.S. Remember, a lot of these things, the internet, it was a top secret program in the 70s and 80s. The internet was. The Air Force was testing it with Harvard or Yale or someone. I can't remember which college. But they were testing it because they were looking for secure ways to communicate. they realized there's the intranet, and then there's other sources that they use too. So this became public. So that's how we have the internet. Because you'll ever notice www3 or 1. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
The WA1.
Nope, where it'll go www.
Oh, www dot or www1.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, that I haven't seen.
You haven't.
Another internet thing, because I know.
Bring it up. Did I lose you? Hello?
I did.
Hello, I'm back. You lost me for a second. Are you still there? Really? Already? Okay, can you see my screen? Okay, just a sec. Let me reset my sound. Hello.
Hello.
Boy, that's annoying.
I know it made me the host for a little bit. I was like, hey, I'm the host now.
Oh, nice.
The IMA.
The what?
I was looking at, there's another internet standards for marketing
Uh-huh.
websites. It's called IMA, Internet Marketing Association.
Uh-huh. That gives the standards for what's considered ethical and not.
Right.
Okay, so no, not that. What is okay? 1 or 2, the number follows W indicates the data being retrieved by the web browser is gathering the information from different web server than the one that serves the typical www address. Now, that can mean it's a backup or a mirror server.
Dynamic websites.
Yeah.
Our server farm.
Yeah, for example, www5 let's bring that one up. It's basically a subdomain is what it is. Or mirror, like I said, see the mirrors? There are websites such as mirrors. When you download something, there's a lot of mirrors to it, right? You can go choose like American or Brazil, whichever is closest, so it downloads faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a mirror.
Server IP address.
And that's, yep, and that's where that comes into play. All right, so since we're still on, all right, now everything that we've talked about today and this mod has been leading up to SEO and better hits. We've seen that our meta tags make a big difference. Our keywords make a big difference. And what happens if you put too many keywords, more than like 10 or 15?
Getting keyword stuffing.
Yep. And usually 15's too much. They recommend 10 tops. Keyword stuffing will get you banned from Google. They won't just take it off. They will ban you.
Yep.
They're not, and they're blatant about it. You might get a warning, huh?
Oh, I just coughed.
Yeah, you might get a warning. Or they may just say, nope, you're gone, depending on exactly how severe your issue is. Because if you go out there, you will see that there's still sites that put 20 or 30 words in there thinking that's going to be better. And most of the words do not tie into them. For example, let's take a look at, well, hey, let's look at this one. Have you ever looked at our schools?
Mm.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look at it. Apple iTunes apps.
Mm-hmm. That's the only thing about, I think, mobile first and one design only. The negative comes in is that you have to put all that code in one page.
Yep. Now, where do we use iTunes app for the school?
In the App Store.
Okay, what do we use though?
Oh, for the school?
Uh-huh.
Oh, we use just on anything Mac or Apple.
Okay. Well, this is what? This is CEHE. What's that?
Mm-hmm. That's the portal, the program.
The portal, yep.
Uses it.
And if I'm using this and viewing it on my smartphone, there's an app.
Right.
On my tablet, there's an app. Just like my 9-year-old says, there's an app for that.
Yeah.
That old ad, there's an app for that. She picked that up pretty well. And that's her biggest question. Why don't you go look for the app? Thanks.
For that commercial came out, we used to say that all the time. My husband goes, we need to copyright and trademark that saying.
Yeah.
I'm hearing it everywhere.
So, yeah, as we're talking though, take a look up here. We have all this stuff, so it makes it work. And you notice a lot of the script that is needed to work on different web browsers tend to be Windows-based. Apple doesn't have that problem, and neither does, well, they do not too as much. Every once in a while they do, but you have to remember Google is one of the leaders in it. So, yeah. And you will know by looking W3
Chrome itself takes up so much resource from your computer. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, Chrome does, but in the process, the browser statistics. Take a look at this.
That's
this tells you, huh?
Chrome, there's so many. I mean, you could add to desktop. For web developers, you can have extensions that check your metadata.
Yep. Now we take a look at this though, and let's go to the browser's home. They've changed this a lot. Now they're only comparing those 5. They used to have a couple others in there.
Yeah, you can see on the left hand. Oh no, that's display mobile Chrome Firefox. Yeah.
They've taken the others out, but it used to be right here, and it would tell you
Duck and all that.
But in July, Chrome had the highest amount of hits. Tells you something. Look at those stats.
My personal opinion is because it's already on Android. Most Androids, I mean, it's a app that has to be on there.
Right. Well, we get down here and look at this. On Windows 10 machines, it's still got the largest amount of hits. But if you look at that rate, that tells you people are not using Windows browser. which is called what now?
Edge.
Yes, Edge. They are using Chrome more than Edge. This tells you that right there. Well, look, Edge is the third, ranked number 3 last month. So, let's see. Browsers
Their new
display.
updates will probably go up again for another 4 months and then go back down.
Yeah. Well, we look right here. And this starts talking about the pixelation they can be seen at, the resolution of the screens. See, so lower screens is not too much. But this helps in planning your website and planning your SEOs, because by looking at this stat, it tells me right now Android still has the lead. That's because there's more Android phones.
They're cheaper.
They're cheaper, and there's a lot more of them. There really is.
I have a whole box of them.
Browser, this is Chrome's stats. These in July are the versions of Chrome being used.
How they update that?
I'm not sure. This was last month.
Yeah, they just did update. I know what mine did 4 days ago.
Right, so did mine. Firefox, and then Explorer, Safari, and Opera. So as you can see, though, this tells us where we need to be planning. And if you really look at it and make a chart, it will tell you where you need to plan for the next few months as you're doing it. All right, that being said, we've covered a lot on SEO. In fact, that's all this class is SEO, but that's a good thing. As you can see, there's a lot more you could probably learn on those little SEO bits as I was showing you. When you start to break them down further, there's more information you can grab. And so make sure to go out and look at those every once in a while, because those, if you're not paying attention to those statistics, you could be losing out on hits. All right, that being said, do you have any questions?
Nope. You're cutting it out again, so.
Yep, I'm about to lose it. So I do thank you for coming to class. It's made it fun. I hope it's helped you.
It has, and glad to have you back, Michael.
Yep, well, thank you. And I look forward to teaching more programming down the line.
I'll see you then.
Yep, thank you. Have a good day.
All right.
Bye.